Wednesday, October 17th, 2018. This is MMA Junkie Radio's pre-show, the show before the show. I'm Goz, that's Dan. Voice you hear in your head, that's Danny Okers. It's already better than yesterday's pre-show that we just forgot we were doing.
It almost wasn't, though.
Or was that the day before? What was the day where we just forgot we were even on?
That was great. That was Monday.
Monday, yeah.
2 minutes. Yeah, what about where we came back from break yesterday and you guys...
I don't know how that
No
happened.
one knew that we even came back from break.
Yeah, that threw me off big time.
Luckily, nobody said anything bad. But I was like, all right, we'll do the short break. Is that what you said?
These are things that happen in the world of MMA Junkie Radio. Or as Danny calls it. What do you call it, Danny?
MMA Junkie Radio.
Oh, I'm turned up to Ghost level. Turn myself down a little bit. Just turn down number 3. That made a big difference.
What?
Nothing. Don't you worry about it, Danny. Just keep your eyes on the board. Keep your eyes on the board. Why do you say it like that? Hi.
I'm not seeing the live stream up.
It's not. It's showing on my side. You're scaring me. I see me and Goes right now on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not on Junkie's page.
Oh, that's why. Let me go. We were unlisted for some reason. Let's go public.
Oh,
let's see if that changed it. Tell me if you see us now. Your changes are being saved. All changes are saved.
Up in 30.
See us now?
Not yet.
Oh, it's going to take
usually
like a minute and a half, I think, before it even pops up.
I think it's quicker than a minute and a half, but you guys have been streaming this the whole time, so...
Maybe when we switched it used to be a minute and 30 seconds.
Yeah, nothing yet. We are coming up in 10 seconds. Alright guys, stand by.
I see us.
This is your captain speaking. We are making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMA Junkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is going to be a little bit bumpy.
Alright, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Gold. This is what we do and why we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yeah!
The MMA Junkie Radio revolution is upon us.
Can you dig it?
There's no escape. No escape. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've solidified our combat communication stranglehold.
We are controlling transmission.
With the use of MMA Junkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology. MMA Junkie Radio. Commence transmission. Live from MMA Junkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goes.
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Racing Sportsbook, you're listening to the MMA Junkie Radio Show, the only show that matters. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me, as always, is the devious and dastardly Goes, our East co-host. To my left, it's the fight analyst, Dan Tom. Back east, producing, as always, Danny Otto. What's up, guys?
What up,
What's going on?
Check out the Warriors getting their rings. Is that 2 for Durant or just 1?
2.
2, right? Couldn't get it done with Oklahoma State. I'll just go piggyback the Golden State Warriors.
I think I'm the only guy that didn't have a problem with that.
To Julian's point, though, yesterday, man, he was talking 90s basketball. Go saw my ears just wiggling. But yeah, to his point, that's what it just feels like, though. It's more of a money game. I mean, You know, two theories I think young Dan Tom was right on was that before celebrities their careers start going in the gutter, they get married or divorced, they get back in the headlines, and then all of a sudden they're getting roles again. That one proved to be right. And another one was as soon as, and by the way, the golden era of like sports commercials, right? Remember the NBA commercials in the 90s, guys, Sprite, and you know even McDonald's doing like ones for like the Olympics. Like the commercials, I'm not complaining. But it was around that time where I go, ooh, this is the sign, all this stuff. This is the shoe deals. This is what's going to corrupt. This is what's going to corrupt the sport. This is what's going to corrupt the sport, the new wave. And yes, you know, I was a Bulls fan. I was, you know, and Bulls had Jordan at the time, even though people that know me know I'm a Pippen fan. But they had Luke Longley and freaking like Steve Kerr. Like, what was his name? Wellington? The guy with the chip shot from the baseline, Bill Wellington. I mean, there wasn't, you know, for as great as Jordan was and all the accolades that come with it, they didn't have some kind of crazy, you know, all-star souped-up team. So I can see why, you know, that attitude.
Horace Grant was pretty good. Dennis Rodman was pretty good. Tony Kukoc was pretty good.
They weren't
Steve
great.
Kerr, you started to mention him, but he wasn't bad either.
You can't compare him to what's
but
going on.
You guys had some joker
today,
big dudes.
Yeah.
Huh?
You can't compare them to what's going on today, though. They had key components, and the other guys just had roles.
They had chemistry, though. They had chemistry.
B.J. Armstrong was maybe top 10 point guard at the time,
you don't need 5 All-Stars to win a world title. You need
cohesion. But he's comparing it to what's going on today, and
it was a different game.
That's an All-Star team, basically.
Yeah, but we don't know that they'll win it though, and that the Marcus Russell guy, he's not even good till March or April. Like he's Cousins, he'll be you know, whatever. But yeah, these power teams. Can you imagine if Jordan? Remember when the Pistons slapped him around in the late '80s, early '90s? Imagine if he would have left the Bulls to go join the Pistons just to win a title. That would have been weak sauce.
That would have sucked. Although I am glad that there was a last-minute change when Scottie Pippen was originally drafted to the Supersonics, but was traded for a young Shawn Kemp. You know, pre-alcoholic Shawn Kemp. So they went for the short money, and the Bulls got better with the long ball as far as Scotty goes. But you're right. You know, there's a lot of underrated guys. Remember Ron Harper? Ron Harper was talked about back in the day as a Jordan-esque character. So it's not that there was a weak team per se, but even to that point, I don't think those guys got enough credit. And another person that didn't get enough credit, which is what kind of annoyed me with the L.A. run. Not the LA Lakers that I love, the classic LA Lakers, and my favorite, which was the mid-'90s LA Lakers. But I don't feel like the LA Lakers of Shaq and Kobe, of course, that did the massive numbers and massive titles. I don't know if Phil Jackson, I know this sounds crazy, but I don't know if he got enough credit in that. Because I feel like you needed someone to be a cohesive unit for all those personalities and egos on the court to make that team work, you know?
Because the X's and O's were like Tex Winter and Frank Hamblin, and not that Phil obviously didn't contribute, but yeah, it was managing all those egos.
So that's a tough part.
Getting the right minutes to the right guy and making the tough decisions. But still, I mean, he won a lot of titles. You just can't take that one away from him.
No, you can't.
Goes is not a big
I hate him.
Phil Jackson fan.
Yeah, I mean, for personality-wise, the stories come out.
Lots
but
of times. Just flat out outcoached and didn't have plan Bs. It was just triangle. If you can beat it, you got me. Well, that's it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I stopped following along.
But titles too for us and 6 for you.
Yeah. But like Go said, if he's carrying over the same stuff,
you could take.
He didn't lose that many playoff series.
You could take a lot of coaches.
He lost the Boston series.
Won with those teams.
He lost the Detroit series. Those I clearly remember. That stung.
Goes has a point,
I was in
though.
Detroit. Boston just
going to win
owned
with those
us.
Teams.
And you have some of the best clutch.
I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I'm just saying he couldn't make adjustments.
Got bailed out by some of the best clutch. It doesn't hurt to have some of the best clutch players at your helm, either between Jordan and Bryant, you know, to bail you out. Or, you know, again, underrated guys like, not to give my guy Pippen shine, but Pippen, who, again, speaking to the point of Bulls having a weak team, especially a weaker as far as big men team, Pippen's one of the few guys who regularly, not regularly, maybe only one, you know, a couple plays for a game, but he would play center. He would play power forward, small forward, shooting guard. He's one of those guys that literally was the definition of a utility player because he had to be on that team.
He could probably guard a center, not for many series. I remember him shutting down Magic for sure.
Yeah.
And that's what got the Bulls over the Lakers in '91 was Magic was he was a big 6'9" point forward, if you want to call him, or whatever you want to call him. But if he didn't have the looks and the lanes, then you could shut him down.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Every coach gets out-coached. I just think Jackson was pretty damn great. Could you say, yeah, well, with that team, well, I guess. But you know, there's been a lot of great.
Rasheed Wallace. Are these really the guys that should have taken down that team?
Yeah, but at the same time, I think we were on the cusp of Shaq and Kobe just blowing up. Like, they weren't making it easy, whereas the Bulls kept it together. I remember Malone got hurt in that series. I was in Detroit, and not that he contributed much, and for sure Gary Payton didn't contribute much. That's why I'm saying pulling all-stars together isn't always the end-all. But Malone getting hurt cost us a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, yeah, he probably got out-coached for that series for sure. I think the players also got outplayed. But at the same time, I don't think that can be all of a sudden a hatred for the guy. I mean, when we just won 3 in a row, like
I just don't see how you can get back on the court and do the same exact thing that got you beat the night before, and then do it again, and then do it again, and then blame your players.
It's kind of hard. Towards the end of the series, guys, they did change things around a little bit. They got away from the triangle, but it wasn't going to make a difference. They were just being outplayed. The other team was on fire. They were shooting well. We were dejected.
I think
we were
that's
spoiled.
One of the greatest coaches of all time.
We were spoiled.
On the other side, Larry Brown. Look at his career. Look at all the shitty teams he took to close to the finals.
He also turned his back on a lot of teams, and he also left them halfway through the season.
But look at the players he had, and he did it. Like, one team he had Reggie Miller, right? He didn't have much. Detlef Schrempf.
Yeah.
The other one he had Allen Iverson.
Wow, now you're talking to my game now.
But did he ever win the world title, though?
Yeah, he won. Well,
he did?
Against the Lakers.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then
for that one.
he took the shitty Clipper team that nobody wanted. He took them a couple of rounds into the playoffs. Like, everywhere he went, he had success. That's a good coach to me.
You know who's my favorite funny-looking coach?
But 9 titles, that's not that good. Or what,
no,
6 and 5,
I'm not
that's
saying
11?
he's a bad time. I'm just saying I didn't like him. I thought that he could have been out. He was outcoached a lot, and I think that a lot of coaches with those players could have won titles.
But I don't think he was out. I don't think he's outcoached a lot. I think Detroit got him. I think Boston got him. And I don't know that it was just outcoached. I think we were outgunned a little bit in the Boston series. I remember they were so good defensively that no matter what team you would have thrown at them, it was just their year. You know what I mean? Anyway, still, I've always hated Durant for that move because I thought he was right on the cusp. They had him 3-1. 3-1. Him and Westbrook, all he needed to do was just add a piece or something, and then, boom, go after those guys.
I think that's the problem,
And instead he goes, nah, I'm going to go join them. Had he not had him 3-1, it wouldn't be as big of a deal. Like, I personally don't like the 95-49. The 95-49ers was an amazing team, by the way. But we rented Deion Sanders for 1 year. He came from Atlanta. He didn't come from our rival, the Cowboys, which, you know what I mean? At the time, the Cowboys.
That's right.
So we added a piece. That's what I'm saying about adding a piece. We added a piece to win, huh?
It was a division. Same
what do you
division
mean?
At the time.
The Atlanta Falcons, right.
Yeah.
He was a free agent, and we added that piece, and that got us over the hump against the Cowboys. Luckily, it wasn't, like I say, our rival per se, and we weren't doing it to get over on the Falcons. So it's almost the same, but not the same. And then he left us and went to the Cowboys and went on and won some world titles. But that I like those homegrown stories. You know, those are always pretty cool. Patching it up, okay, that's what we're going to have to do if we win with the Lakers this year. You know, we have some homegrown guys, but we're going to have to import, and we did, LeBron James, and there'll probably be another one coming soon, Kawhi. I don't know who it'll be next year. But we do have some homegrown guys, so it'll be easier to stomach. But when they all just say, hey, everyone collaborate, like they did in Miami that 1 year, and like this dude did, and now Cousins, same thing. You know, less money, I just want to win.
Right.
Okay. But I'm telling you, there's no way it can be the same as the ones that went through that struggle, got slapped around from the top of the mountain, and then just kept pushing through, and then they actually they vanquished their foes. Those are the greatest.
Since you're bringing this up, this seems like a perfect segue, so we don't lose our MMA audience here. Since we're talking about this, let me pitch something to you guys. You guys are much better suited to answer this question than me. The biggest MMA news probably since yesterday. You know, we don't want to dig too much into it because I believe it might be part of our daily debate topic. But as far as analogies go, Eddie Alvarez going over to ONE. We all know his resume. One of the best resumes from a lightweight to MMA fighter as far as the titles, organizations he's jumped around to. So, apropos to what you're saying, who would be an athlete like a Deion Sanders, a Bo Jackson? Who would be the athlete we compare Eddie Alvarez to? Because he's definitely a standout guy as far as what he's done in MMA.
So he's already succeeded in 2 organizations, Bellator and the UFC. He won the belt. Now he's going to another organization. Who would I compare him to?
I think you got to go to soccer.
So someone that's won.
Because NFL.
Ronaldo? I mean, not as great as Ronaldo is, as soccer is Eddie, but
Right.
Ronaldo did win in 2 leagues, and now he's going to his 3rd league. If that's what you meant.
I think that's a better analogy in soccer because in NFL, like all you can really do is, all right, were they successful in college, and then what did they do in the NFL? I mean, I guess there's a CFL guys like, but didn't Herschel Walker have a run with one of those? or something like that?
USFL.
So you can't really do it there, but in
But
soccer,
in the
you
NFL,
can play
you
in
can go to
different
2
leagues.
different teams. Is there someone in the
Yeah.
NFL that won titles in 2 different leagues or teams and is going to a 3rd? Can you think of any?
Well, in basketball,
It'd probably be like a less
Robert
relevant
Horry
name.
did it with a bunch of teams.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he won with
Rockets.
2 with Houston, 3 with the Lakers.
I like Robert
and
Horry.
2 with
Antonio.
San Antonio. That's incredible, man. 7 titles.
Six-
So, yeah,
6
Robert
foot
Horry.
7 inch.
Robert Horry's not a bad one.
Yeah, I like that guy. Of course, he was another similar framed, same position as Scotty. He was one of those utility players, and he could kind of do it all. And I loved watching that Houston Rockets run, by the way, as a fan in the mid-'90s. That was
Well, they had
OJ.
That was
Drexler,
fun.
they had Hakeem, and then they
I
eventually
think I got
got
to watch-
Barkley.
Yep, and then I think it was Drexler that tied Jordan's record from the 91 finals for most three-pointers in a NBA Finals game at 6. And Scottie Pippen, of course, crushed that record in 97. Back, and of course, after they went to the three-point line, to the college three-point line. So he got 7 and got it from a further distance than both Jordan and Drexler. Just saying. I've thrown those stats out.
Pippen holds that record
Oh, yeah.
right
Yeah.
now to this day.
I don't know
Even
if
over the
anybody. I don't know if
Currys and all
anybody.
that?
I don't know if anybody beat it, but he beat quite a few Jordan's records, from Defensive Player of the Year to little things like most 3-point game in a finals game. But it doesn't get talked about. So when I throw these like asinine stats, where I go, forget about the narrative, and you look at the stats. Jordan's still going to be the better player, but it is
By
not
far.
It is not as much as people would think, and that's why I say, because there's so many of these gem stats out there that people are like, what? Well, I'm like, yeah. It's utility players don't get the credit.
But there wasn't a rivalry between the two.
There were after game practices that were apparently competitive, just because both guys were really competitive dudes. Everybody knows Jordan's competitive, but even Pippen was competitive to the point where he wasn't maybe the most enjoyable guy to go out with at times either.
Pippen?
Yeah, and I heard stories. I used to have a nose and throat doctor out here that was the old in the 90s, their old game physician, and would just share stories. And I almost wanted to like create problems just to go chat with that guy as a kid, and then I never saw him again. But yeah, we share little tidbits like that.
We're still not going to get to MMA because I want to talk about a boxing story that I just read on the way in.
All right,
Was
what's
it the
up?
mascot?
No. Oh, Deontay Wilder?
Yeah.
What happened with that?
It makes
Did it
no
hurt-
sense.
did it hurt the
Yes,
mascot?
He broke his jaw.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. How did he not know that?
Well,
that
they
was a
egged it
human?
on, so I thought inside. Is that what he's saying?
That's what the headline said. I watched the video. Is there any excuse?
The host egged it on. I saw it in
Yeah.
Spanish, right?
Yeah.
The host egged it on. All right, so this is what we're talking about. Deontay Wilder went on a show, in Spanish-speaking talk show. I didn't see much other than the final clip in which he's actually, just showing off his skills. But there is a mascot that comes out, and who would you compare that mascot to?
Those president heads that walk out and they run the race at a baseball game.
Yeah, but no, he's
Or, the
there's not like a
pizza
body
guy.
from the head down. I think there's
Little
still
Caesars.
a little bit more. Right. Almost like SpongeBob body, right?
I don't really remember.
Well,
to be
so
honest.
anyway, Deontay Wilder unloads on this guy, and I got a good laugh because I turned it off right then and there. And now Goes is filling in the spots here, on what happened. Wow, look at this. Canelo Alvarez signs a $365 million deal with DAZN.
Shit.
Jeez, DAZN. Wow. All right. He hits him, and now Goes to tell me broken jaw. I saw it. He did unload on it, but he was being egged on, so I figured the guy underneath had full-on protection. You know what I mean?
I didn't hear it with sound.
But now that I think
would
about it,
assume you would hit
how
him in the
protected
body,
could you
though.
be? Because if you have a football helmet, you're going to break that guy's hand. So how protected could you be that you could take a shot like that? And Deontay Wilder's a pretty tall guy, so it was very evident that whoever was underneath had a head right around that spot. You're right. That was pretty silly. Maybe he just thought it was so cushiony that he couldn't hurt him. But where I was headed was, I couldn't believe I read this. I mean, why should I say that? Why should I even say
So this
that?
was a Mexican TV program that he did it on?
I'm
I
not
don't
sure
even know that.
what
Oh,
country,
okay.
but it was Spanish speaking.
Okay, I was gonna say maybe he's a fan of The Simpsons like us, and he just associated it with the bumblebee, and he's like, that's the whole gig, right?
didn't know
Bad
he-
things
but
happen
the
with this
host-
guy.
The host did egg it on.
Yeah.
So the host, I believe, is also at fault. Deontay maybe at that point could have said, "Are you sure?"
Too. I just think they got their signals crossed.
Wow.
You sure when we light him up?
Came out, like he didn't walk out going, "Hey, what's going on here?" Like he was kind of doing this, right?
Maybe he was prepared for a body shot.
I think it was a body shot he was supposed to take.
Wow.
This is why, like, people. I don't think people like put these two and two things together. And to be fair, I don't think guys who are have their bodies as weapons think about this too. You know, for example, young Dan Tom went to a haunted house one time with my karate instructors, and they didn't. We didn't go after that, and they kind of banned themselves from going after that because they realized when people would jump out at them, they didn't think anything of it. They're just trying to go and have a good time. They weren't like macho dudes. They didn't even look like tough dudes if you look at them. But the first one that jumps out is like a 3D wall, and this girl jumps out, and he boom, just accidentally just chest palms her, like not even like hard on accident. The girl like loses her win, and he's like apologizing. It was a big mess. We pretty much got kicked out. She was probably like I'm guessing early 20s or in her 20s. And
what age were you guys?
I was teenagers, and these guys were in their mid 30s, like men. 19
or 13?
I was like 15 or 16.
15. We did that something like that, and I was 13 because I was in 8th grade. No, we were 12 because we did it to the 8th graders. They were 13. They were grabbing our feet. We started kicking. We looked like the guys from Goodfellas.
Oh, jeez.
But we were trying to kind of like, hey, get off, like that. Not realizing that kick alone, next thing you know, we're being pulled in after recess, and they got stakes on their eyes and ice. They're pointing at the shoes. I've told that one before, but
yeah, I heard that.
To finish this out, though, this is the headline, guys. Floyd Mayweather says he's boxing Khabib Nurmagomedov could make more than the McGregor fight.
Nope.
So many things here.
He's
trolling. Why did we start with this? I know that we had a whole talk about, well, it's advertising. There's a value to keeping your name out. This, that, whatever. I guess I'm just going to file it under that. It's just that's what entertainers do to keep their name relevant. But you file it, you just can't seal it. Because sure enough, there'll be a reaction from Khabib, well, there already has been, and Dana, because judging, once the analytics are run, if all parties can make money, guess what? We got ourselves a fight, and we got to accept it. There's no way around it.
I got asked twice on the way in today.
And so the question would be, guys, I already know your answers. If it happens, we know Floyd wins. Do you want it to happen? Of course not. But if you're going to stomach it, at least let's get the Ferguson fight out of the way, right?
Yeah.
So that April or May,
well,
then he does his month
from my
pilgrimage to Mecca. He does Ramadan, come back and do it in the summer. However, if you do this fight, don't you think the UFC says, we now strip you of the title?
From my perspective, do Tony first. From the UFC, why would they do that? What if he loses? Now you don't have the boxing match, right?
Man, that's
so
true.
I don't think they would do it.
Oh, that's so true. Shit. But the UFC is so much about dollars and cents, and if they can pocket a quick 50 mil, which I thought that's what I heard they did for McGregor, maybe they were the 100 mil. I don't know, but I heard their number was 50. Why wouldn't they do it? Oh, man.
To counter that, I would say
so sad right
the
now.
wording would be make sure Tony Ferguson is taken care of. If that happens, I guess would be the more proper wording. But here's the ironic part is whether it's Mayweather or a McGregor rematch with Khabib, is that there's more options on the table that involve Tony not getting a title shot / being set up for, at best, an interim title. And let me just tell you, that at best may be the most insulting of them all, right, guys? I mean, not just seeing how UFC can take away title shots, fights that are contracted with signed, titles even, being kind of awoken this last year and a half to that, but Tony Ferguson, of all people, the way he lost it, and of all people, the way he's earned it. I mean, as far as anybody even, going for champs who maybe are currently holding titles, as far as their path to the title, I mean, who had a harder division to go up with more of a murderer as well, than Tony Ferguson?
14-1, man. That's incredible. I was thinking about that on the walk today. I was walking Max the dog, who turned 15 today. And I don't know why, but I was thinking about Ferguson, and what I wanted to do, Dan Tom, was I wanted to go on the UFC Wikipedia page and look and see who all the champions are and see what their records in the UFC are. I would argue that Tony's 14-1 run in the UFC may be more impressive than just some of the titles title holders and their runs.
Probably.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Think about it, yeah.
Because they're going to have not as good of a record, and they probably won't have as many title defenses. Because right now, a lot of the champions are actually pretty current. They're like new champs. So I wanted to take my time with that one and see who fits. You know,
good point.
Which would strengthen the whole. Well, the belt doesn't mean as much. Look what I'm doing. You know, I've always just been a big fan of belts and championships. I hate when the athletes say that. I wish whatever they want to do, whether it's build a legacy, make money, you know, any of that, or have a legion of fans, or you know, leave you long-lasting memories. Whatever your goals are, tie it into the belt, you know. But yeah, that was just a random thought. But as far as this, you're right, because if he loses to Tony, that 0-0 goes, and then that's it. That's what's marketable about this fight is he's the Floyd Mayweather of MMA coming over to box. Why do we always have to go to boxing? They're gonna have like a 4-1 record on us, aren't they?
Yeah.
If they did hybrid, would you?
Because you know that guy's not gonna come over. What?
If they did hybrid, would you care a little bit more?
Yeah, because it's something. You know, it's something towards getting the boxers over. I guess Floyd has every right to go. Hey, you're the guys. You guys are calling me.
You know what I would do?
Because
honestly,
yeah.
I mean, granted, this will never happen, but I would say to the boxers, all right, let's do half and half. Here's how we'll do it. You got 3 rounds in boxing to put me away. If you can't put me away in 3 rounds, guess what? The next round's MMA. With obviously Floyd's not going to do that, but maybe certain rules where I could take you down, but I can only hold you down for 20 seconds, stuff like that. I think that's fair.
That's what
it is,
goes,
but
it's
it's unrealistic because I don't know if the commission.
Totally.
Yeah,
maybe De La Hoya should have took your idea to help fill out that undercard. You know, that could have used some help. That would have been much more enticing. You could even go. You could even come with the lesser value of names, but with that concept, I think would bring people in, and you make it the whole boxing versus MMA thing. I mean, if he's not trying to make a sustainable league or really a sustainable card, let's be honest, for that price point. Not trying to hate Oscar,
what's the price
but
point?
$49.99.
Wow.
For Tito and Chuck, pretty much.
I'm starting to get mad.
Or T-Bound Efrain Escudero.
Why?
I'm starting to think Max may have gotten more happy birthdays likes than I did.
Really?
Nice.
That's offensive, right?
A little, yeah.
I don't know.
He's a dog, and he's our dog. How does he outrank me?
So more likes on Facebook or more likes on Instagram?
It's not there, but I think it may get there, and if it does...
Don't you usually get in the hundreds or something, or what?
Yeah, but he's at 79 already.
Oh, wow. Oh, get this. Okay, this is going to blow you away.
All right.
I had someone WhatsApp me singing happy birthday to Max.
Really?
A professional, like a doctor, somebody of the doctor degree or of that level, took time out of his day to sing a happy birthday to our dog. You guys want to hear it?
The whole way through?
You know, out this person.
But it's actually pretty quick. You guys will be able to you guys will be okay with this.
No, I'm just asking. He went the whole
way through.
All right, let's hear it.
He forgot to wish me a happy birthday, and because I
say, hey George.
Mine was only 3 weeks ago, so I vividly remember he forgot. Because then the next day he goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I missed it," and yet, yeah, you guys want to hear it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do old school.
Hey, you know what?
Put it up to the mic.
Cindy
like
didn't
Brian
tell
Bennett.
me happy birthday until like she was working that night, and she didn't do it till like 3 a.m. But guess who she remembered
the next
right
day?
Away? No, the day of.
3 a.m. That's only 3 hours in.
But she got to Max first. She
no,
was
because
the first message.
But
on
you
my
just
phone.
But you just posted that this morning.
No, on my phone. On my phone, it says "Happy Birthday, Max."
All right. You guys want to hear this?
Totally offensive.
Okay, I got to make sure it's on speaker. Here goes, and then we'll go to break.
George, hermano, pues me da gusto ahí que tu perrito te esté aguantando un buen tiempo. Caramba, quién diría cómo pasan los años. Pues ahí va un saludo especial para él.
Escobar.
So at that point, he said, "George, that's cool that your dog's holding on after 15 years. I hope he has a nice day. Please send my regards." I thought it was going to end there, like, and how's your day going or anything? And he continues.
Did it in his language?
Wow, 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 wow. Chao, manito. Te me cuidas.
The thing at the end was that cha-cha-cha. I hate when people do that.
Cha-cha-cha.
God, there's nobody more I want to punch in the face than that guy that goes cha-cha-cha.
I have a challenge for you, too.
Right noggin.
But so he actually sung it to him kind of in dog talk. That was a bark at the end, and then he said, "Hey, big hug, cousin." But goes, I want you to reconsider. And I'm going to go in the YouTube chat after this commercial that we're going to take in just a sec. I want you to reconsider the owl from TripAdvisor. Now, I know once you focus on something and start to hate something.
I don't have a beef with him.
I thought you disliked him.
No, I think he's funny, but I just don't understand why he's always wearing the bathrobe.
Those guys have a lot of money, Travel Advisor. They are just marketing everywhere. Either that or I happen to be on the same channels. But he's just cracking me up. He's been on an airboat ride. He was on a trolley. He's got the fancy little robe.
When he's talking about
I thought you said you hated him, and so at first I kind of was like, yeah, you're right. He's the penguin? But I thought the owl, he had something against the owl too.
No, I just think I understand. I think he looks cute. I think he's funny. He's got the bathrobe. But when he's talking about hotels, that makes sense. But when he's on the beach, who wears a robe on the beach? That doesn't make sense. Or when he's climbing Machu Picchu, hey, come to Machu Picchu, he shouldn't have the robe.
Yeah, that sounds inappropriate. Is he creepy? Is he creepy like
He's like a flasher.
That's his look, though.
Yeah.
But always?
I guess he's that's his Hefner.
Say I'm
robe,
the spokesman for GreatTickets.com, right? And here I am in my basketball jersey. If I'm pitching,
big gusty
don't forget
in here.
the Vegas Knights. I can't be wearing my basketball gear,
It's
right?
gusty like Homer Simpson.
No?
It's just like the general. He's always going to be a general. He's not going to wear shorts and the rest of the general outfit if he's on the beach.
Yeah.
He's just always going to be the general. So I think the Owls, they're sticking with it. But I'm a big fan of that little Max Piggy.
Geico?
Geico. I'm a fan of the gecko. There's a few of those mascots that I really dig. So, but they haven't been hanging around as much. But this owl's grown on me, to the point. It could be that I'm just
George's gonna come in here with a robe tomorrow
because I'm walking my dog. I realize I'm kind of old, but there'll be times where I'll be it's commercial time, right? And I'm not using the DVR, so I'm I'm gonna go and get up and get a water. I turn around and I start to walk towards the fridge, and then. Whoa! It makes that noise. Hello there. Whatever the owl says. And I'll stop and turn around and watch him with a smile on my face, enjoy his spot for about 30 to 45 seconds, and then go, and then turn around and go and get my water. That's how much I like him that I actually turn around, or I just, I could be engaged in a conversation. I'll go, hold on a second. And then I'll just watch, I really get a kick out of that owl.
I've never seen this owl yet.
You've never seen the owl?
No, I've never seen
Sweat the details. Late checkout.
This guy.
Down alternative pillows. And, of course, price.
Oh, we've got an English accent. He can't be up to anything creepy.
Without breaking a sweat.
I trust him with my life.
We now instantly search over 200 booking sites to find you the lowest price.
No, I would give this guy my social security number, and he wouldn't even have to ask. You probably know what to do with it more than I do.
You know who probably hates him? The Tootsie Roll owl. That's the only other owl.
That's what I was getting to, because he's creepy too, though. Because
the Tootsie Roll owl.
He's a dick. He takes the thing and he goes 1, 2.
He draws kids out into the forest. He draws kids out into the forest, right? In the middle of the night, because owls are nocturnal. To ask him questions about candy. This is not an appropriate time to be drawing kids out in the woods to ask them questions about candy. And then anyway, I don't want to get into it.
All right.
Yeah, and then he ends up stealing their candy too, as well. And
the kids from the Tricks commercials are dicks too.
I never paid attention to those.
Silly rabbit tricks for kids. Right. All he wants is tricks. Give him a little bit. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, the camera usually turns away before one of the kids starts torturing the rabbit.
Why didn't I think about this when I was a kid, and I'm thinking about it as an older guy?
I don't know.
Yeah, just let him win one every now and again. We have a new flavor. Try it, Tricks.
Hey, real quick. Most sketchiest kid cereal you ever saw going down the aisle? I don't know how long they lasted, but Robin Hood had one, and they had Kevin Costner on the front, and they looked like Poison Cheerios.
Robin Hood cereal?
Yeah, that lasted for a couple years.
All right, stop. Go to commercial. Go to commercial.
Blueberries underrated.
Danny, hit that music. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio. We will discuss some MMA at some point. Today we'll talk to Ray Cooper. We're also going to be talking to Ryan Bader, and we'll also talk to Rick Story. Now, Story and Cooper fight at PFL on Saturday. We had them tickets to give away, and we gave them away. Erica and Lerone from Maryland will be enjoying those tickets. They're the good ones too, $125.
You just made her day.
I think it's I think hopefully they get the whole VIP lanyard and all that stuff. Free drinks, girl, Uber, and they had some good sliders. I had a blast at PFL 9. PFL 10, it's on Saturday. Good. So those two are from that card. Bader, of course. I was having a tough time explaining everything he's got going on as I was writing the preview for today. But he just defeated Matt Mitrione, the number 11 guy, formerly, in the USA Today MMA Junkie rankings and now he's the number 14 guy, pound for pound overall. So I'm really looking forward to catching up with Bader. So stay close. We'll be right back after these messages.
Like a lot, especially Goes. Here are Gorgeous George and Goes.
Who sings this song again?
The Human League?
That's right. All right. Get the radio channel numbers and a link to listen to your favorite NFL, college football, NBA, or NHL team sent right to your smart device. Just go to SiriusXM.com/sportstoday and click Add to My Calendar. The Human League. The Human League, you said, right?
Yep.
The Human League. All right.
Wasn't that what George Costanza donates to?
The Human
I
Fund.
think that was the Human Fund or something.
That's right, yeah. All right. Ray Cooper, man. Can't say enough about this dude. He did some work over the summer. And that's why he's the number 1 ranked guy going into PFL 10 for the welterweights. The number 1 guy is facing the number 8 guy. Coincidentally, they fought already. That was one of Ray Cooper's devastating wins. It was Jake Shields. So, remember I said this earlier last week, I think. Hey, it's like a regular season in football. You could lose that team. It's the playoff one that counts. So, Ray Cooper, I don't have to remind him of that. He knows. He knows what's up. You win twice, and you're up for $1 million fight on December 31st. Let's catch up with him. What's up, Ray Cooper? How you doing, my man?
How's it going?
Good. Thank you for joining us here on the MMA Junkie Radio Show. It's always great to have you. Man, you had quite the summer. You know, going in, hardcore MMA fans knew who you were. But now coming out of that, everyone knows who Ray Cooper is. You know, number 1 ranked welterweight. And I just wanted to ask you, this summer of 2018, aside from the work that you did, the points you accumulated, the number 1 ranking, do you feel like you also improved mentally, psychologically? Did your confidence shoot, through the roof?
No. I believed in my skills. I knew what I could do. I knew I was going to dominate everybody in this division, and it's happening. And one step closer in the playoffs, and just focusing on my first fight, and we'll take it from there.
Mm-hmm. All right. What do you think of the fact that it winds up that you will have to fight Jake Shields yet again? Is that, I don't want to say an advantage, but is that something you embrace? Did you wish or hope that it had been someone else? Or because you won so devastatingly, are you just kind of happy that you'll face someone that you already had success against?
No, it's just another fight, and I'm looking to put him away already and retire him. I think he's done already. So I just can go in there and put him away in the first round this time and move on to the next leg of the bracket.
All right. Here's one thing I enjoy looking at when I look at fighters' records. So you're 15-4, and then right away I gravitate towards the wins. And the first thing I look is to see your finishing percentage. And, of course, this guy's 100%. Rarely do we say that. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of guys that are undefeated, but they decision half of them or whatever. But you are just guaranteed fireworks with Ray Cooper. He's got 10 TKOs and 5 submissions of those 15 wins. So you literally, that's the fight you can't step outside and go to the restroom, grab a beer, grab a popcorn, grab a hot dog. Judge. You can't. You have to just pay attention, because it could end at any moment. If you're a judge, you're right. You can take a break. That's incredible, Ray, that you have still maintained that statistic.
Yeah, it's just how I fight, and from when I was young, I used to wrestle hard from the beginning, and fighting is like wrestling, but we got throw punches now. So I was always an aggressive guy, and when I fight, I come out aggressive, and I come out to finish the fight. I'm not a point fight like all these other fighters. I can come out to take guys out, and yeah.
Of those almost 20 fights, guys, only 4 of them have entered the second round, and only 1 has gone to the 3. The third, it was actually one of his losses. And by the way, one of those guys he may be able to meet up with later on as we continue here through the welterweight brackets. But still, just amazing statistics. Ray Cooper, tell me a little bit about your team, because I want people to know, all your gyms and your coaches. I just think you're a guy that we can seriously cover at a high level for the next 5 years. So who are all the coaches that help you prepare throughout the week, and what are the different gyms you visit?
I don't have no gym. I train out of my garage at home. My dad is my main coach, and then my 3 brothers, Blake Cooper, Bladen Cooper, and McCall Cooper. wrestlers. My two brothers went to Oregon to wrestle in Warren Pacific. My brother's an NAIA national champion and regional champion. So is my other brother, Baylor Cooper. So I don't go to no gyms. I stay home. We stay home and train out of our house.
You can't argue with the success, but outside of the fact that, hey, family first, those are the people you can trust, have you had a bad experience going to another gym, or is it that you just haven't tried it yet?
No, I went to a couple gyms down in Hawaii, but I just don't like. I like to be secluded when I train and have only a few guys I like to train with, and yeah.
Okay, all right. Ray Cooper III is our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. He fights on Saturday versus Jake Shields, and of course the winner will progress that night, folks. Remember, 2 times in one night. Should Ray Cooper win 2 times on Saturday night at PFL 10 in Washington, D.C., he will be one of the 2 finalists for PFL 11 on December 31st in New York City. All right, Goes, what do you have for Ray Cooper?
Ray, at the end of your fight there with Jake Shields, were you guys able to talk afterwards in the back at all? Because I know before the fight, Jake had said some things, and did you ever have that moment to talk to him?
No, not really. Just in the cage, I told him it was an honor to fight him, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Did anything in the first fight take you by surprise about him? Because if you watch the fight, I mean, you were just always one step ahead of him, and I wondered, are there really that many adjustments to make in your game for this next fight?
No, nothing really surprised me. I kind of knew I was going to dominate him from the beginning. He's not that fast anymore as he was in his younger days, which he's not that fast anyways, but yeah, nothing really surprised me, and nothing's going to surprise me on Saturday. I'm going to take it to him and finish him in the first round this time.
All right, our fight analyst, Dan Tom, he's got something for you. Dan, Tom, what do you have for Ray Cooper?
Hey Ray, first of all, obviously, congratulations on the success. Obviously, you're no newcomer as far as the fighting family and getting the appropriate experience. But you spoke about not going to decision, and I look on your record. The only one fight that went to decision was a loss. But as George said, this guy Henderson, he's in the bracket as well. Regardless of whether you face him or not, was there any lessons you took from that fight or that you can maybe apply to fighters or fights, like him and that he offers in the future?
Yeah, I kind of was not really training for that fight, but some of the lessons is just not to let him grab on me. He was holding me the whole time, just holding me, hugging me. He never exchange. Pushing me against the fence, but I corrected that, and we're gonna see if he gets to the next round.
Gotcha. Just one more from me. We've heard a lot of fighters. They're so happy with the PFL that they're saying, regardless if they take home the $1 million payday or not, that they're definitely coming back for next season. Are you one of those fighters, or with organizations like Bellator, re-breaking the ground, I should say, in Hawaii and bringing big shows back there? Has that caught your eye at all?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to staying with PFL, just tournament style. I don't think any other organization can do this, or any other fighters. As guys get hurt, they cannot last through the season. Guys got to take 2-month breaks. We fight every 6 weeks, so yeah, the UFC can't handle this. Neither can Bellator, and I believe that we can go to Hawaii next year. If not next year, probably the year after that, after I win this tournament.
There you have it. And Ray, you are built for this because especially that first fight of the quarterfinals, it's that first round carries more weight. So should you guys split, for example, the tiebreaker goes to the one that won the first round. That happened in Long Beach. I was in Long Beach last week for that, and I got to see how some fighters benefited from them, and now the pressure was on to stave off the opponent. Some were able to succeed, others weren't. But the point is, banking that first round is so important, and you're like tailor-made for this. So I know that you are probably pretty happy when you heard that news.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to come out every fight in the first round to finish them. I'm not going to go to any other round. But, yeah, this is a a good tournament style. I'm made for this, and the first round I'm gonna come out and finish him. So I'm not gonna have that that split decision or that tiebreaker, whatever you call it. I'm not worrying about that. I'm worrying about just finishing to the fight and making it to the next round.
Which one of your brothers, because I believe I've seen your dad in the audience. I haven't caught all your fights. This might just be an isolated incident. But which one of your brothers takes the lead in your corner, by the way?
My other brother Blake and Balin.
Gotcha. Okay. They're the ones that can send the message of what you're doing wrong, what you're doing right, psych you up. Do you guys as siblings ever bicker a lot, or are you guys always on the same page?
We're pretty much on the same page with our training, and they know how I want stuff, and I know how they train, and yeah, it's a good system we got going.
Mm-hmm. And if you don't mind, just because I find this so intriguing, like you answered my co-host Dan's question, there was one fight that, hey, you just didn't train as hard. Who do you fault for that one? Does it all rely on you, or did your family let you slip, I guess, from training, or how did that work out, and how were you guys able to regroup and fix that?
So that fall on me. I was kind of a little bit off track on my training, and I adjusted that. My dad adjusted everything, and now I'm on the right training system, and we fixed it. So we're gonna see what I got on Saturday.
Can't argue with the results. You've been doing great this summer. It's been fun watching you fight. Thanks very much for the time. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right, we'll see you. And that, folks, is Ray Cooper III, who will be fighting Jake Shields on Saturday at PFL 10 in Washington, D.C. He's very, very exciting to watch. 25 years old. He gets down. All right, let's take our last break. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 83. Stay close. We'll be right back.
They are the stretch marks on the underbelly of the MMA community. But hey, stretch marks are the new tats. They are Gorgeous George and Goes.
Tonight at 10:30 Eastern, Dennis Smith Jr. powers the Dallas Mavericks against number 1 pick DeAndre Ayton and the Phoenix Suns on NBA Radio, Sirius 207 XM86, and streaming on your phone or at home on SiriusXM connected devices and speakers. All right, let's get to some quick calls here before we get to the top of the hour break. We'll start off with Kevin in Chicago. What's up, Kevin? Kevin in Chicago, it's your turn, bud. Let's put him back on hold. We'll get to Dan in Oregon. What's up, Dan? How you doing?
What up, man? Shout out to everyone out there on YouTube watching. Rolly, Don, I'm sure Human Moron and everyone, all the greats are there. Dan Tom,
What's
this
up?
is my first time of the week, bro. What happened to your arm? What's going on with your right arm?
Dude, remember I was late the other day for work? This is a new punishment, man. We had Ensign Inoue on the show talking about Japanese gang stories and like what happens if you mess up. It gave George here the idea. Is like, you know what? We got to tighten the ship here at Junkie. No, I'm just kidding. I actually, Dan Tom's been doing home improvement stuff for probably the last 5 months, and I finally got new doors that I've been waiting on, and I couldn't leave it well enough alone, and got my finger caught in a slider doing the old WD-40 trick, and yeah, it was not fun. I'm glad to have my finger though, so that's positive.
Hey, there's always an upside, right?
Yes, sir. Thanks for asking.
No problem. You guys have probably already touched on this, but Eddie Alvarez goes to 1 championship.
Yeah.
First they get Henzo, now they got Eddie Alvarez. Man, I'm thinking they're doing amazing things to get the casual fan to start tuning into this. And is the writing on the wall for Shinya Aoki rubber match? Am I crazy here?
No, you're not crazy. I think that's what I would do for sure.
They were in the Rory McDonald sweepstakes, right? We know that. So they've been trying to get a few of those people here and there. We knew it was going to happen, and I think this one makes the most sense.
Yeah, from what I know, they're heading to Japan, I believe in like April or early next year, and it would be crazy to not put Eddie Alvarez on that Japan card. I think that's about signed, sealed, and delivered. But, and then what else, man? The other big news, Canelo Alvarez is on the zone now. Like, you know, I'm the casual boxing guy. I watch the Triple Gs, the Joshuas, the Wilder, that type of shit. And now we're going to get Canelo on the zone for his $10 a month. This seems epic for Bellator, man. This is a win-win for all the MMA promotions that are on DAZN. Am I the only one that's sold?
No,
these
I got mine.
Platforms because I'm a cold cutter.
I gave him my credit
curious
card
to see if maybe they piggyback off of something like that and make a Bellator card earlier in the day, leading into a boxing or something, vice versa. Kind of bridge that gap.
Well, I hope DAZN keeps buying up MMA properties, Dan, so maybe more people watch like the Risen shows and stuff that you're spouting off about. Which, by the way, I watched the last one and I sign off with you. It was great. I'm mad at myself for not watching more live, but it is hard for us viewers. So if DAZN can do that to help that market too, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, and if it was part of their the way they got sold on it, then that was brilliant on DAZN's side.
Yeah.
Hey, look, keep it down, keep it, between you and I or whatever. But we got Canelo on the way and all these other properties on the way.
Yeah.
Then it was a brilliant move for Bellator. Dan, thank you very much for the call. We got to move on. It's the top of the hour break. It's a quick one. We'll be right back, literally in less than 1 minute. Stay close. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 93.
brought this song in today this morning.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe it was Danny Okers.
Wow, that's cool.
All right, we're back. It's the second hour of the MMA Junkie Radio Show. If you didn't catch yesterday, by the way, even if you just go to youtube.com/MMA Junkie Video, scroll down to the bottom, and one of our recent uploads, it's under either radio, we have like these different files, or recent uploads or something, but you'll find it. It's 15 minutes, and it's the 15 minutes of agony that John Orlando caught himself in as he had that Carolina Reaper chip to pay off his bet against Julian Marquez. He took Conor, the other guy took Habib, so he finally paid the bet. Now I wish goes that we wouldn't have let him touch any of his products for about 30 seconds to a minute.
Rick is there?
Because I think that helped him, whereas others haven't had that. Even if it was just for 10 seconds, or like every 5 seconds he got himself something. Because as I was watching it earlier, you're right. Had we not seen the way he acted at that barbecue, we wouldn't have been so concerned. We would have just said, he's a young dude. He'll be all right. But otherwise, he kept, spoon feeding himself. So it was, I don't want to say the easy way out because still got to have balls to do it. But
he left dust on the mic thing this morning, and my chin started burning.
Really?
Yeah, I had to wipe it off.
Wow. All right. Let's get to Rick's story. Rick's story is also fighting at PFL 10 on Saturday night. He's one of the quarterfinalists competing for that $1 million grand prize. Remember, they got to compete twice, so you can't just win one time and your night's over. You got to regroup and then go out there and perform again. He'll be facing Henderson Ferreira, who happened to be the last guy to give Ray Cooper a loss. So very interesting here. And, of course, Rick's story's got many wins over his career. Gunnar Nelson, Thiago Alves, Johnny Hendricks. He's had a pretty dynamic career, actually. He joins us now on the hotline. What's up, Rick Story? How you doing?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Not much, man. Welcome back to MMA Junkie Radio. Always great to have you. You had yourself a pretty good summer as well. I was just telling our other guests that Ray Cooper, I mean, you went out there and handled both of your fights, got the job done. And so your PFL run has been pretty remarkable, and now you're in a great spot where you have to fight twice in one night. But if you get out of that, you're guaranteed $200,000, and you could win up to $1 million on December 31st.
Yeah, it'd be kind of nice, wouldn't it?
It would be,
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
I think back to your Dallas fight. I think it was 103 when you doubled up on the bonuses. You also had your show and win. And not to disparage that night. It was a great night, but wow, winning $1 million would almost make the other night look like a Peanuts night. You know what I mean? But regardless, that was huge. This could be huge as well. I mean, it's an incredible position you guys are all in right now.
Yeah, for sure. It's a pretty cool format PFL has in doing this. Definitely one of the motivations for me to do it. But not to take away anything from my first bonus night, but at that time in my career, I was only making three to show, 3 to win. So that was huge.
Yes, of course.
but yeah, at this point in my career, this is like the next biggest thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt, man. It was a huge night. I was trying to word that so that it didn't sound in any way disrespectful, but I wanted to highlight the $1 million that's out there. That's incredible money for a promotion to do, and I wanted to get your thoughts as someone who, you have quite the resume in terms of you're a veteran who's paid his dues, 20-fight veteran in the UFC. Now you come over to PFL. When you did it, was there any apprehension? Did they sell you right away? And if they didn't, now have they sold you after seeing the way they've treated you for the last 3 to 6 months?
Well, I mean, honestly, after I got done with the UFC, I was pretty close to calling it quits and being done. But the PFL approached me with this opportunity to put in about, what was it, a year's worth of work at the time I got offered this. And the payout would make me more than what I made my entire career in the UFC if I won it. So
for real?
I was, yeah. So I was definitely more motivated to do that.
Wow. Okay. Man, I right away my wheels are spinning. You fought 20 times. You won quite a few of them. But, yeah, I mean, if you say so, I'm sure you already did the math. But that's pretty remarkable to hear that.
Yeah, well, I mean, with the $1 million grand prize plus, like, all the other fights.
Right.
Leading up to it, the accumulation would be more.
Right. Okay. And, by the way, is that a situation that leaves you happy? You know, hey, thanks, PFL? Or does it also bring up resentment? Any bittersweet thoughts towards the UFC?
No, definitely not. Just because, you know, I'm like at the tail end of my career, and I mean, I was close to calling it quits, but I didn't want to leave my career on like the loss to Cerrone, just because I didn't perform like good at all in my mind. So, with the opportunity with the PFL, you know, it just seemed like everything lined up for me to make the decision to actually fight again.
Not to mention the loss of Cerrone. It's hard to realize this because you've been in the game so long, but you were still only 32. So it could be that you're still walking into some better years, experience, and, you know, still hanging on to some of your youth. Those are some dangerous cats. I mean, look at Tyron Woodley. He's probably 3, 4, or 5 years older than you are, and you know, he's at his peak right now. So I'm glad you made the decision to stick it out, and so far so good.
Yeah, it's definitely doing pretty good. And I tell you what, like even that little bit of time off and coming back, it's I feel even more comfortable than what I've ever felt inside the cage. Like especially like from the last time I went in there. I mean, I'm just absolutely comfortable.
No doubt. Rick Story, our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio, he'll be fighting at PFL 10 on Saturday in Washington, D.C., and he may have to fight 2 times in one night, so it makes it very interesting. First up, though, is Henderson Ferreira, who's 11-1-1 overall. All right, Goes, what do you have for Rick Story?
Rick, you've had the opportunity to see some of the playoffs unfold already. Is there anything that you've been able to catch watching that, or maybe speaking to some of the fighters that have been through it, that has altered maybe your approach to the playoffs?
No, I mean, just, knowing going in, you know, it's a 2-round fight for the first round, and the winner of the first round is weighed heavier than actually winning the second round. So you just need to make sure that you go out and put a lot on the line in the first round and make sure that you take it. Just because if the other guy gets the second round and doesn't finish you, right, the person who won the first round goes on.
While still saving in onto some of that gas, some of that energy for the next round of fights. So it's more complicated than people think. I'm sure a lot goes into it mentally and physically in your preparation.
Rick, I know that...
yeah, you know, you get... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's like with the formatting and this way, you know, it's like you also get to see like the strategic part of the game. When you were scoring points to get in and seeded, it was a little bit different. I mean, the strategy was go out and put your opponent away to score the most points possible. Now, you just need to, you know, kind of endure everything. So there's kind of a fine line by putting too much energy in and not putting enough energy in. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of neat.
You spent a lot of time at the UFC where you probably became familiar with the staff, with just all the faces. Being in the octagon probably felt normal to you. Over here at PFL, have you had that moment yet where it started to feel like home, the cage around you, the environment, the staff, the people, all that comes along with it?
No. I mean, I was in the UFC for what, 8 years, almost 8 years or something, and I haven't even been in the PFL a year, so I haven't had that time to like come in. Plus, it's a new organization, so I mean, every time I come in, I'm still seeing new people. So, you know, I've seen a few people a couple times now over the last 3 months, 4 months, but yeah, I haven't had as much face time as I had with people in the UFC. So no, not the home, but stepping in the cage is stepping in the cage wherever you go.
And just so people know,
that's more normal.
The way it'll line up is the winner of Cooper and Shields will face the winner of Story and Henderson. And then on the other side, we got Magomed Karamov versus Pavel Kush, and Zhao Zeffirino for Bojan Volkovic. All right, Dan, Tom, our fight analyst, what do you have for Rick Story?
Hey, Rick. Obviously, last time we talked to you, you were kind of putting together a training camp, getting ready for the regular season. But I know, speaking to you before, even toward the end, what's called the end of your UFC run, you were making some adjustments as far as your training. Now that you got through the regular season, you look great, by the way. What can you say about as far as the changes you made to your training going into the PFL regular season, and what you got going for the playoffs? Are we keeping the recipe in the kitchen simple and the same, or are we changing anything up?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Just focusing on keeping the basics crisp, and maybe adding one different thing for the opponent that I'm going against. I've had plenty of years to get good at all my skills, so I just need to brush up on them, make sure that they're on point, and clean up anything that's left hanging.
Gotcha. And, as far as you kind of touched on it, as far as, at the end of the rainbow, the monetary motivation that obviously PFL is offering everybody here. But we're hearing some guys saying that even if they win the $1 million, they want to sign them up for the next season of PFL. They want to come back. Obviously, your intent's to win the $1 million, Rick. So in a perfect world, you win the $1 million. Do you want to come back to the PFL? Do you even want to stay in MMA at that point, or are you just not even thinking about that right now?
I'm gonna let the time take its course and figure it out. But honestly, I'm pretty ready to be done. So this could be the last weekend that you see me fighting, but we'll see.
Wow. All right, that's interesting. I'll definitely be keeping an eye. I thought for sure, if you racked up $1 million, you might say, one more time. Let's go for the second $1 million. Because I'm interested to see, and I know there's going to be 6 winners of $1 million. I'm interested to see which one will be able to go back-to-back, because that'll be pretty tremendous dough. But it really does sound, Rick Story, like this could be it. So interesting twist to Saturday night's event. Give it your all, man. Go out in a blaze of glory. Your fights are usually very exciting, and I'm sure you'll do nothing less than that.
Yeah, I go out and just do the best I can every time I go out. To add on to that last thing I said, as far as being done, my body's been through a lot. I've had quite a few surgeries. I've had neck surgery and stuff, and I need to look out for 10 years down the road. So there's other factors playing on my mind to get out of the game.
Anything you can share other than these injuries? Is there you have a business or any new careers you want to turn towards, or family stuff?
Oh yeah. I'm pursuing police, and it's just something that's right up my alley. Something that I feel that I'd be good at and be able to help whatever community I get on with.
Yeah. I know 2 guys that wound up their careers recently, and that's what they're doing. One of them is John Alessio, who started really, really early, as a 19-year-old. He fought John Milicic, but he's about your age, actually. And he is a Henderson PD, so Henderson's just outside of here in Las Vegas. And then the other one is our good friend Ulysses Gomez. He's finishing up. He fought in the UFC flyweight division, Tachi Palace for many years. He's just winding down his training, and he's going to work for Metro here in Las Vegas. So I know a lot of them that are going the route of firefighter or policeman. So that's great on you guys.
Yeah, I just can't see myself just parked behind the desk right away, just because my life up to this point has been pretty exciting, having to step in and fight. So I don't want to be too sedentary too quick.
I wish I could be a fly on the wall, though, when you go through some of that training and they're saying, so the way you subdue an opponent, and just see how you're reacting to it. If you place your knee here, you'd be in a much more favorable position.
Yeah, well, I've actually been invited up to the police academy to instruct on, certain techniques but I just haven't really had the opportunity to take my time to go up there and do it.
Yeah. All right. First things first, Saturday night, my man. Handle your business. Hopefully you're one of those guys competing for $1 million. You, like I said earlier, you paid your dues, put in your time, you know, and it'd be nice to see you competing on December 31st.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to do my best to make it happen.
All right. Thanks for spending some time with us here on MMA Junkie Radio, and good luck on Saturday.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Right.
Easy, Rick.
That's Rick's story. Here's some Twitter handles. Well, Ray Cooper doesn't have one, guys, so I confirmed. There was a Ray Cooper out there. He only had one tweet in August, so we confirmed, and it's not him. He just doesn't have Twitter. Rick, though, he rolls with @Rick_story. And then our next guest, not yet, he'll be coming up in about 20 minutes. Ryan Bader, just like his name, @RyanBader. All right, let's take this call. Let's see if Kevin's ready to talk now. He's been on hold. Kevin in Chicago, you with us now?
You don't ever piss off a gangster.
Who did we piss off?
No, I'm joking.
We tried. I asked your name 3 or 4 times, said your name a few times, and you weren't there.
Yeah, that was my bad. I wasn't by the phone at the time. What's it called? What are you guys most excited for this PFL fight coming up? What are some fights you're looking forward to?
Well, for sure, Shields and Cooper has a story. For one, Cooper dismantled Shields in their first fight. You can look at it as Ray Cooper the third won, Jake Shields nothing. But Jake Shields has history with that family because he beat Ray Cooper's dad. So you could look at it as Jake Shields won, Team Cooper won. And this is sort of a twisted trilogy, if you will. But, you know, that one's going to be interesting. We just hung up the phone with Rick's story. How can you not root for that guy? He's saying this could be the – yeah, the way he said it was kind of raw. He just goes, this could be the last time you see me. This weekend could be it, you know. And I know he's not the most popular name ever, but we got to meet him once in studio. We've had him on the show before or after quite a few of his fights, so we followed him. I've never really heard of him getting in any form, you know, any sort of trouble or anything like that that's ever caused me to say, I don't like that guy. So, you know, John Howard, same thing, always been a pretty cool dude. You know, I'll be looking at that, and I'm just always rooting for guys that are like on a comeback trail of sorts. Eddie Gordon, he's in the middleweight alternate bout. I met him when they filmed Tough once. Such a nice guy. And I thought, wow, this guy could be the next real deal. He's with a great camp under the tutelage of the guy that was a champion at the time, Weidman. I've always enjoyed the Sarah Longo guys, but he just cannot seem to get any form of traction. And that after that, I just let the fights play out because new stars are made, you know, and there's a few guys that you just really know very little about. And then on a certain particular night, you're like, wow, who's this dude? Where's he been? You start looking him up. And then from then on, you become a fan or you start to follow them. But that's me. How about you, Dan? Is there a certain fighter that stands up for you or fight?
You know, to tip my hand to our breakdown we'll be doing later, you can look for on the MMA Junkie. We'll be breaking down the bracket. But Absupian Magomedov, the German native who's Dagestani but lives in Germany since he was a young guy, he's a big favorite. I think he was seed, right? Yeah, he was my pick to win when they first announced the bracket. But I'll tell you, in that division, I'm surprised you didn't mention because you guys seemed to hit it off in the interview, and it made me like him was Major Payne, Luis Taylor. Drove it Taylor.
He'll be on tomorrow's show, by the way.
Oh, nice, yeah. And he's going against Rex Harris. And I think that's just going to be a banger. And Luis Taylor kind of came out of nowhere, upset some guys. I believe he was underdogs in both of his bouts, and was getting it done, man. I love seeing the older guys get it done and show the younger cats what's up.
Yeah.
So.
Goes?
Lewis Taylor was going to be mine. That's why he was booked for tomorrow's show.
Nice.
He's
good man.
Very underrated.
Good man.
Yep. That's how we answer that question, bro.
You got Khabib. Is that his brother fighting or his cousin or something?
You can never get the right story. Sometimes it's a cousin, a brother, or then you go, oh, same father, same mother, and then they'll go, no, I just call him my brother. So I don't know.
Abubakar Nurmagomedov is who you're thinking
cousin,
of.
Right?
Yes, that's his. I don't know if it's a blood cousin or because they have kind of a different thing. Like Hawaiians we call auntie and uncle, but not everybody's auntie and uncle. And I think Dagestan they have kind of a similar thing.
Gotcha.
So they consider a lot of them because Khabib's dad trains a lot of them too, right? So there's a lot of that lineage where they consider Khabib a dad and uncle kind of sorts. So I think it's one of those relationships. But yeah, and that's a fun match too. He's facing Bojan Velichkovic, who was a UFC vet. set. So
if I'm not mistaken, that's the gentleman that got hit by Conor. They were both
Yes.
straddling the cage.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's funny how you just think that a temporary suspension really could have got him as well.
Shoot,
had
yeah,
that thing
yeah.
gone even
Yeah.
further, and imagine the damage it would have done.
Or this fight was in Vegas or something, same commission.
Yeah. Well, they tend to respect each other. Now,
True.
I don't know much about the Washington, D.C. commission, if that one even exists, or if they go under Maryland or Virginia, or what they do, or maybe they just govern themselves. Sometimes the UFC's done that in certain territories or states when not all the states were sanctioned. But he's fighting, and that's the good thing. So, yeah, we'll see how all this plays out.
Okay, I got one more thing. Did you see Ronda Rousey? She was talking about certain athletes get special treatment. I thought that was a bit ironic, or whatever, however you want to phrase it. Because I thought she got really special treatment, especially with the promotion, the way they set up that commercial when it came to Amanda Nunes. I thought Amanda Nunes, she was the champion at the time, and the entire pay-per-view commercial was all about Rousey, and she's returned, she's coming back. I thought that you can consider that as special treatment. And I felt with Conor McGregor, it was like his stardom, I felt like it actually translated into pay-per-view buys. I felt like it was more natural. I felt like with the Rousey situation, it was kind of like this media push. Like she was going on Good Morning America and ESPN magazines and stuff like that. You could tell, like, the media was trying to push her. Like, she was, like, this female, like, the feminist angle. Oh, she's, like, a kick-ass woman and stuff like that. I just thought that was, like, a bit ironic, how she was talking about how certain athletes get special privileges or special treatment. I feel like she was the most privileged athlete of all time when it came to the UFC. I thought, just want your guys' take on that. Anyways, take it easy, guys.
Thank you, Kevin.
You can't argue that. That's one of the special treatments was not doing media at one point. She was able to pull that off.
I'll even argue a step further. Everybody's pointing out the obvious one. Obviously, Ronda speaking on Dana/the UFC, giving fighters special treatment, and people bringing up stuff like, for example, the media for UFC 207. But that was toward the end of her career. I would argue before she even got to the UFC, she was getting special treatment. Before Dana White even. I like many Junkie listeners, became a fan of Miesha Tate through this show because you guys were interviewing her early on in her career before she got to the Strikeforce title. So I was amongst those who kind of were following Miesha there. And if you remember, it was if you remember, it was a pretty competitive.
Oh, I see.
You had Marloes Kunin, and even had people dropping in randomly, like Liz Carmouche, who was putting on a hell of a fight, and giving it to these girls. And it was a competitive bantamweight division. And Ronda came out of nowhere, and not even from that division, from 145, if you remember. I don't know if the title fight was her first fight at 135, or her Julia Budd right before that was like her first 135 fight. But she cut the line. There were girls that you could have justified at the time.
Kaufman, I remember how to beat.
Yeah, and
Kaufman and Tate.
And Tate, yep, and they were trying to go with that narrative, and again, it was the right move. Obviously, I'm not hating them there, but let's be honest, Coker and the promotion said, no, we're having her cut the line, and it drew a lot of ire. So she'd been getting special treatment before the UFC even considered making this a division. But yeah, more to your guys' point.
Now, well, it's weird. Do we call that incident special treatment if the promoter is actually the one that did it? I mean, she campaigned for herself, and a lot of fighters do that. So would you call it preferential treatment on her behalf? Because campaigning for yourself, I think, like I say, well, I just repeated myself. What do you think?
I would, because one, you had to remember the Gina Carano void. So we were in a position in MMA back then where who's going to be the next Gina Carano. So it was kind of the stepping stones were already laid for promotion to try to fill that void. And I still consider it because, again, the sample size, even though it was small, especially back then for women, it was ironic because it was actually, again, a lively competitive portion of the women's history where you didn't need the we got to bring Brock Lesnar in for ratings, we're desperate here. Like, they weren't in that position. Like, so I can't really give them that. Again, it was still the right move at the end of the day, right? Look what it all led to. But I'm saying I can't give that pass if we're calling a spade a spade. I'm like, yeah, she's pretty much gotten it from the beginning of her career.
Here's what I'll say. I forgot about that whole thing in Strikeforce, to tell you the truth. In the UFC, what I heard is behind the scenes, she got preferential or benefits or preferential treatment or whatever, but nothing that us media or fans could really see unless you were really deep undercover. You know, I mean, there's a lot of media that just have certain context or access where they might know this and be able to answer the question better. But I heard that, and I always took it with a grain of salt from whoever told me. Usually I hang out with credible people. I'm not just, you know, standing on that bridge between New York and Excalibur exchanging secrets with people. But
guys in diapers?
Yeah. But so that was one. Two goes, you're right. She did receive preferential treatment. That whole fight versus Amanda Nunes, she didn't have to do anything that other fighters had to do. And if you recall, there was a time, I think it was before UFC 200, when Conor McGregor got pulled off 200 because Dana White says, if you're a fighter here in the UFC, you got to do the media. There was only one press conference that Conor didn't want to fly to. And I remember him saying, nope, nope, nope. And that was actually prior to Ronda Rousey acting the way she did.
But
of course, the company does. What are they going to do? You know, they're backed into a corner because these fighters become so big that at some point they're like, oh, my God, why did I say that? Yes, you don't have to do any media. Oh, but we're going to take some shit over this if they call us on it or whatever. So, yeah, she did receive it. Then goes Dan. She did get she did catch a break there, cutting the line a little bit at Strikeforce, and then the stuff I heard behind the scenes. But now I want to come to her defense, too. I also heard that when the UFC came to Ronda with, you know, all that mainstream attention and that apparently she did a lot and sometimes even more above and beyond. And that's why I think the UFC also gained some respect for her. And so did the women that have followed in her career steps because they saw that she did go out there and do a lot. I think what happened was she just burned herself out, and then a couple jackasses on Twitter stuck it to her when she got knocked out, but she wound up blaming everyone rather than just saying, oh, it's only a select group of assholes or whatever. Instead, she was like, all of you turned your back after I did what I did, and it's just unfortunate the way it's all, you know, come out now.
Well, I was going to say since day one, she kind of did the opposite. When they did kind of award her the belt, you would say that could maybe be special treatment. She was against that. She wanted to earn it.
Yeah.
So there have been moments where she's gone against it.
Yeah.
But she's also benefited from it.
Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff, Kevin. You got us to discuss that topic there through and through. So right now what I want to do is I want to take one of the breaks out of the way. Usually when we ramble for so long between calls, and I want to regroup and see where we're at because like all these texts fly in and out, and sometimes they're fighters. Looks like Bader's ready to go. So let's get this one out of the way, and then we'll come back with Ryan Bader. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Fight Nation Channel 93. Stay close, and we'll be right back.
And instantly returned for raiding all their snacks. They are Gorgeous George and Goes. And this is MMA Junkie Radio.
I like that rejoin. That cracks me up. You came up with that one? All right. Let's see here. We got Bader coming up in a few minutes, so we're not going to take any calls.
Okay.
And we've gone over some of the latest news, including Floyd and Nurmi. Of course, Floyd hits back and says it could even be bigger than Conor. And, oh, man, I just know that something like this is it's going to grind my gears for a while.
This one won't happen.
I hope not.
But, damn it, I said that.
And then Eddie Alvarez, like you noted, Dan Tom, signed with one championship. Yesterday we were so consumed with John Orlando and that damn chip. We probably could have talked about it yesterday, but he's off over there at one championship. They're going to pay him well. And if one championship is back in the game of signing North Americans and South Americans and Europeans, I'm all ears. Because some of them cards, you look at them and you go, eh. You know, you're just praying that Askren comes back or that Fernandez or Angela Lee or, you know, a few of the other names that they have might be on there. But I'm blanking on the flyweight that they have. Adriano Moraes, I think is his name. Him. But other than that, you know, I just can't get into it. I know they're homegrowing talent, but I just can't get in. Eddie Alvarez will get me into it. Eddie Alvarez versus Shinya Aoki. I hope there's more coming. So good on them to get back in the game. All right, let's do the daily debate here. Brought to you by the MMA Junkie Radio team. Here we go. Former UFC and Bellator lightweight champion Eddie Alvarez has signed with one championship. Was that the right move, or should he have stayed put or gone somewhere else? So, guys, I want you to just answer this as media/fan, and here are your choices. No, signing with one championship. The other one was stayed with the UFC. The next one is return to Bellator. And then the last one would be sign with PFL. Dan Tom, what do you think of this?
If I had to vote for one, it's tough. He's kind of done it all, and you know, you don't want to. We demonize it. He's doing it for the money. He's doing it for the money, and I'm against that, especially a guy in Eddie Alvarez's situation. But then again, if he did go to a PFL, I think it would be just for that run, and that's it. But the fact that he signed with an actual organization, tells me that he does still have that competitive fire as far as, you know, still wanting to put on shows and not just some type of one-and-done deal, pardon the pun there. It's a multi-fight deal, so you know what? It might not be the most popular. I mean, selfishly, we want to see everybody in the same home, in the same place, duking it out. But, man, if you've been following Eddie Alvarez, he's been doing that for a decade already. So I got no issues. Because I have no issue, you can go ahead and throw me into the one category there.
Goes?
He's got a UFC belt. He's got a Bellator belt. If he went to Bellator, which would have been my second choice, I'm assuming they would match him up against Michael Chandler. And if you lose that, now what? Doesn't really make much sense. So I think one championship was probably perfect for him. And I think they gave him a lot of money, which is what a fighter at the end of the last run of their career probably is looking to do.
Let me challenge both of you, though.
Okay.
All right, one championship, let's just say they are giving some money. But we've also heard the same about Bellator. They're also paying some money. You're right. He fights Chandler, and if he loses, there's not many choices. You are correct. But at one championship, is there many choices there? They got that Ed Fulayang or whatever his name is.
But he hasn't reached
the pinnacle. And they have Shinya Aoki. So you're saying,
it's the belt. He has two belts
to add to the resume?
Add one more. Okay,
because I was going to say there's not as many challenges there either.
Yeah.
And I think Bellator may have cost themselves by not stacking up a lightweight division for an Eddie Alvarez to return. It's just Primus, Chandler, and then there's like 5 other guys, you know, that are hanging in there, but they just haven't caught any traction. So you have to mark Bellator off. I would have stayed with the UFC. He was very competitive in the Poirier fight. He was very competitive in the Cerrone fight.
Very true.
I think he won the first round. He was even competitive in, well, there was 2 Poirier fights, just to be clear. He beat Justin Gaethje. He beat Dosanjh. I mean, and Pettis. I feel like he was still within a fight or two. 2, if he just went the proper fight bookings, and 1 of fighting for a world title. 1, if he beat a high-profile name, and all he does is fight high-profile names, and is in the right position, maybe if someone falls out, to fight again for the title. I feel like he made it to the big leagues. Why not stay there and compete? A second UFC lightweight title would impress me more than adding the one championship to his Bellator and UFC title.
I'll concede that. Let me just add one more thing.
Sure.
You know, there's not many people that anybody could pick to beat Khabib Nurmagomedov, who is the current UFC lightweight champion. But I will say, I think Eddie Alvarez has to be one of those names of guys best suited. I would say him, Tony Ferguson, and maybe like a Justin Gaethje, who has really underrated defensive wrestling or something like that.
I would say Lee, Gaethje, and Ferguson, but Alvarez, I don't know that he stops. Maybe.
Lee's up there.
He wrestled Chandler pretty good in the second fight.
Yeah, he's got. I mean,
Maybe.
Chandler is a literal bull in a china shop as far as explosive wrestlers, and obviously Chandler has his own opinions. But just to throw that out there for devil's advocate, I want to throw that in there.
There you have it. There's our daily debate for today. Good stuff, guys. 37% agreed with you and Goes.
Okay.
31% said stay with the UFC. 29% said return to Bellator.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe it's not a bad choice because if you match him up against the winner of Chandler and Primus, or maybe it's just Chandler regardless of how Chandler does versus Primus, that does still give Bellator about a 9-month window to sign somebody, sign 1 or 2 free agents, where you could then throw Alvarez into those types of matchups. So to be fair, maybe right now it wasn't as appealing. Maybe in a year it comes that way, but who knows? Yeah. And last place was signed with PFL, and I think that would be more attractive had he not banked all that dough with Conor McGregor, because that was such a huge fight where he made millions. He's already got the 7 figures in the bank, and that's what PFL is all about, is that the lure of those, those are for the fighters that either are too young or had their chance elsewhere, and now they're looking for another chance. So I think that's why I know why they came in last place there, 3%. Almost, let me see, 1,843 of you voted. Thank you very much for participating, Junkie Nation. Let's take this quick break, and when we come back, we'll come back with Ryan Bader.
Taught Andy Griffith how to whistle. Here are Gorgeous George and Goes.
Week 7 in fantasy football season starts tomorrow, and the place to hear advice and information from the experts 24 hours a day is Fantasy Sports Radio. Listen for news, injuries, player rankings, and game previews, plus strategy on how you can handle 4 NFL teams taking the week off and early morning Sunday game from London, England. If you play fantasy football, the place to be is Fantasy Sports Radio, Series 210 XM87, streaming on your phone or at home on SiriusXM connected devices and speakers. Our next guest, he's a beast. Can't say enough about him. 2-0 now in his Bellator heavyweight Grand Prix run, most recently defeating Matt Mitrione. That's 6 in a row for Bader. He's now 26-5 overall in his career, 4-0 at Bellator. So arguably maybe their best signing ever as a free agent. So now if he beats Fedor Emelianenko, who he's matched up with on January 26th of 2019 in Los Angeles at the Forum, he'll be their heavyweight champion and their light heavyweight champion. Seriously, really, it's been an amazing career after coming out of The Ultimate Fighter and doing the work that he did in the UFC, and now just, I mean, taking down names in Bellator. Phil Davis, Linton Vassell, King Mo, and Matt Mitrione. Can't say enough about the guy. He joins us now on the hotline. What's up, Ryan Bader? How you doing?
Doing great. What about you guys?
Man, we're doing great. Not as good as you, though. A light heavyweight just dominating the Grand Prix.
Man, it feels good, you know. Then what was good about it, I got to go out there, you know, and I beat Mitrione, which was, you know, tough fight. And then I got to sit back and watch, you know, the other fight play out with no stress whatsoever, you know. And you know, I wanted to fight Fedor in the finals, and then to see him go out there and he looked great, and then to be able to get in the cage with them, square off with them, you know. I think if you ask anybody in that tournament who they would want to face in the finals, it would be him. You know, for my legacy, for the mystique about it, to go in there, not only win a Grand Prix, which he kind of came up on, but to do it for the heavyweight championship of the world, plus be a 2-division champion doesn't get any bigger.
Any chance 50 Cent can throw $1 million late notice for you guys as well for your Grand Prix?
You're thinking the same thing I'm thinking right now. You know, it's just one of those things. Seriously, I found out. I'm like, hey, there's got to be something coming up on the heavyweight, right? So, but we're talking to Bellator Bass right now. We're going to get that handled. I'm not worried about that whatsoever.
Man, it's great times in mixed martial arts. If you're in the right spot for the right opportunity, PFL's got these $1 million tournaments. The welterweights, they get $1 million. I think, I don't know if it was for fun or not, but Fiddy's throwing $2 million to bring Khabib over. So yeah, I think you have every right to at least ask Coker, hey, what's up, man? Someone's got to have some sort of a bonus for us.
Yeah, we'll get that handled for sure. But yeah, it is a cool time to be, you know, in MMA. You know, it's yeah, I feel bad. Well, some of these guys that kind of came up in that generation right before us, you know, a lot of them are out now, you know, and they missed these big opportunities. You know, there's still guys in here like Rampage and Vandalay, you know, that are definitely benefiting from that, you know, and are still, you know, they're not in the prime of their careers, but they're out there putting on good fights, and fans want to see them fight. But now is definitely the time where I think it's kind of the turning point where there's other stuff out there besides UFC where you can definitely make good money. There's other opportunities, you know, than say 5-10 years ago for sure.
When you were in Arizona State back in the early 2000s, did you watch Pride?
Yeah, I did. I was a big fan ever since that first VHS tape came out, you know, so I definitely watched it all.
So there's probably a good chance that now you got to square off against Fedor. Now, of course, you're full of confidence. You're one of the best fighters in the world, pound for pound. You're ready to take him on. You're confident you're going to take him on. But I got a feeling back in that dorm room, back in the ASU days, when you were watching Fedor, you were probably thinking, man, I would not want to get locked up with that dude.
100%, you know. But and even in my early career, you know, standing across the stage from some people, you know, I remember my first big fight was Keith Jardine, you know, and I was fighting on the Ultimate Fighter, had a couple of fights outside, you know, in the UFC. Then I was fighting Keith Jardine after he just, you know, come off a win over the Chuck Liddell, the whole thing. You know, I threw up in the bathroom before, you know, but I'm I'm past that now. I stood across the cage from everybody, so that doesn't get me now. But it's crazy, yeah. You don't stop and think about, like, where you came, back in college, yeah. If you told me, hey, you'd be fighting Fedor one time in a Grand Prix for a heavyweight championship of the world, yeah, dude, they'll tell you you're crazy.
Yeah, pass the reefer, you're high. That ain't happening. Ryan Bader, exactly. Our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. Goes, what do you have for Ryan Bader?
Ryan, throughout history, people have stood in front of Fedor Emelianenko, and he just doesn't have very many emotions. You looked him dead in the eye. Was there anything you got out of looking him dead in the eye? Anything you could read?
Anything for, read-wise, I was kind of around him all week. He's one of those guys who's just kind of a straight-up, no-nonsense, people look at him and go, oh, he's a killer, this and that, but I've been around him, he communicate, like, how we can, whatever. He'll smile here and there, and we say hello. And I was in the, I guess not even a locker room, but before the open workouts, both of our teams were there, and I was trying to get a good warm-up before, I went out there, because that was going to be my workout from the day, so I kind of worked out in front of them a little bit, and could tell the eyes were kind of on me. It's one of those things where, I think he just gets just as anxious and nervous and all that like the rest of us, and I could see that, and for me, it's just, I'm not going to put him on a pedestal. I'm going to go out there and do what I do. I'm coming out as the champ, as, I'm going to go out there and beat him. I'm the best in the world. That's my mentality. So the mystique and all that about it is going to be gone. It's very cool, and I can look back later and look at it, but right now I just got to see him as just another man.
With everything going on in the world today, politics-wise, is there even a little bit of nationalistic pride involved in this matchup for you?
Oh, I mean, I think there always is, and I think that would be a good angle to get this fight, get that behind this fight. But yeah, of course I want to go out and beat, Fedor alone, but that he's Russian and the whole deal, that gives it a little extra boost, I think.
Ryan Bader's our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. He's coming off a win over Matt Mitrione at Bellator 207 this past Friday. He'll face Fedor Emelianenko, the winner of the other semifinal at Bellator 208 this past Saturday, and they'll face off on January 26th. They have not named that Bellator event yet. We just know that it'll be at the Forum, home of the Lakers, a former home of the Lakers, and it will be obviously in Inglewood, California, right next to Los Angeles. All right, Dan, Tom, what do you have for Ryan Bader?
Ryan, obviously, congratulations on all the success you've had in Bellator, but for those paying attention, you've really kind of hit this kind of second win, third win, however you want to frame it, if you will, going back to the UFC, even going back to maybe before that speed bump against Anthony Johnson. We're really seeing improvements in your game. So let me ask you, now that you're on the verge of, you don't want to look past the next matchup, of course, but again, if you win your next fight, you don't only beat a guy like Fedor, you're also a double champ, and it puts you in names like guys who you were already connected to with history-wise, like a Daniel Cormier, or now they're having John Jones face Gustafsson for the vacant title. So I guess, long-winded way to set it up, Brian, do you have any predictions or opinions on those two big fights that, although not in your same promotion, names that you are now being attached to, obviously, for just, being amongst there as the best of the best? Do you have any predictions on Jones, Gustafsson too, or Daniel Cormier's election to go up to heavyweight, his success there and facing Derek Lewis?
Yeah, on the, it's, I think Jones is taking it serious coming back. He doesn't want to mess up again. He wants to go out there and prove that he's, the pound for pound best, and so I think he's going to go out there and actually put on a really good show, and I think he's going to, take that W for sure. I think it's going to be a good fight. On the Cormier and Derek Lewis, I think, I think Derek Lewis is funny, the whole deal. I like his personality, I like his, post-fight speeches and all that kind of stuff.
And his Instagram, right?
I really think this could be Cormier's easiest fight in a long, long time. I mean, I see Cormier going out there, jabbing him in the face a few times, hitting an outside single, putting Derek on his butt, and there's going to be game over pretty much, so, and that's why you saw Cormier take this fight, even though he has a hurt hand, even though it's a month away. He's like, wait, I get to go out there and fight, put my heavyweight title on the line, and fight a guy who just said that he doesn't even deserve to be in a title shot and that he's tired and he can't go 5 rounds. Of course, Cormier is going to do that. So I actually think Cormier is going to run away with that for sure.
All right. Should you become champ right away? Do you go back to light heavyweight, or will you then maybe just concentrate on one weight class?
Yeah, I don't know. Like my initial thought right now still is to defend both. But we're talking to Bellator right now. Figuring that out. And it's one of those things where you defend that heavyweight first. It might be a bigger fight. It might be a bigger money fight. Might be something I'm interested in. And then, I'm holding up that 205 belt for how long? Do they do an interim? Do they try to strip me? There's a lot of moving parts there. So, right now, I'm saying I want to do both. Like, I want to not only get both, be 2 division champ, but also defend both. Something I don't think a lot of people have done. So, that's initially what I'm thinking right now, but we never know. Like I said, there could be a way more intriguing heavyweight fight that makes more sense. It makes more sense financially, the whole deal. So it's one of those things to kind of wait and see.
Right. Okay. Well,
I don't mind not cutting weight. I don't mind it at all. I've been getting spoiled. So
we just recently did a daily debate. A daily debate on this, and we were talking about who should fight the winner. And what were our choices, guys? Karatanov, Minakov, and Cheick Kongo. Believe it or not, Cheick Kongo won, right, guys?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Cheick Kongo won. So because of the run he's had,
I would say the same thing. Because Karatanov, how do you pronounce it? Karatanov or whatever. He looked great. But I don't know who his last fight was or whatnot. But Kongo's had 7-fight win streak, the whole deal. And the other guy, he's been out the whole time, and I'm always for the guy that's been putting his dues in, That's what I like about Bellator. That's what I like about this tournament. You win, you move on. I've been in that position before where I've won 5 straight against tough opponents and then, gave a title shot to a guy that got knocked out, stuff like that. So, I agree with you guys on that.
Well, I chose Minakov. The other two did choose Kongo. I gotta keep it straight with you. My co-host did.
All good.
Both of them took Kongo. I felt Minakov, but hey, first things first. Fedor Emelianenko on January 26th. It's in LA, and we're gonna be heading down from Vegas. Hard to pass that one up. Thanks for the time, Ryan Bader. You're a beast, man. Congrats on this run you've been on.
Appreciate
it's been fun to follow your success.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right,
see you
care.
down there.
All right, we'll see you.
All right, bye.
Couldn't be a nicer guy either. Dude, man, serious. No ego at all. Thank you to Ryan Bader. Thank you to Rick Story. Thank you to Ray Cooper. Tomorrow we have Andrew Simon's going to be co-hosting with us. Ray Rodriguez, who's headlining an LFA card that's coming up as well. Fridays, right, guys? Lewis Taylor and a few other PFLs. It's going to be a lot of guests. It's going to be a fun show, so tune in then. Right now, we're out of here, folks. Go Dodgers. I'll root for Goes' team. For Danny and Dan and Goes, I'm George. Have a nice day. Go out there and be a champion.